I want to jump out, let's say 5 or 10 years into the future. What does the world look like with respect to this, how we actually interact and define these things, and how do we assess efficacy like 5, 10 years out? Because it feels to me like there are certain areas that are going to get quite mature now, where startups, whoever is going to get, are going to get really good at helping. So for example, I'm envisioning a tool that's like a workflow tool that can take a set of people that are on the editorial committee of some dialogue system, for example, and it can get really good at interacting with them, getting them to debate the issues, figure out exactly what this response, where this response is suboptimal and why. But I imagine somebody's done really well at that, has gotten it so that it's like a few clicks and 5 folks can like steer this thing pretty quickly.
Well, first of all, it's scary to think about 5 years out for me. And I think it's an important point because maybe 2 years. I mean, at the rate that we are,
Maybe 6 months out.
no, and totally, we have gone over the top of the mountain now, and we are fast. I mean, there are, as you say, there are so many people that have latched on to the possibility. So there's just a lot more folks using these LLMs, and I personally, I think where we're headed, where I guess I would like to see us head, is in developing these communication strategies that are very personal. Everybody in the earth has a particular way of communicating, a particular style. So I see these models being highly, highly personalized, in a couple of years, to the degree that satisfies most people. So I do think that what we're talking about is the ability to switch personas, essentially, in communicating basic level information in a way that not only is relevant to the current day, but maybe your entire history. How you have been. Maybe you're not. Maybe, for example, you've been feeling down for the last 6 months, so that it takes on a more empathetic tone and so forth.
But efficacy assessment in that world, in that hyper-personalized world, is challenging, right? Because now you're almost like assessing efficacy relative to a set of dials and all their potential parameters, and now you're just setting the parameters back for the individual or something. So in other words, I have the ability to say to like be a 10 on the empathy dial and a 6 on the aggressiveness, and that's because that's what I want, and that's how I want to be talked to. But now I have another system that can assess, like, given that I'm trying to get a 6, 7, 8, 3 across these attributes output, I now generated it. To what extent did I adhere to that? That might be your efficacy assessment in that world.
Well, what happens when we have an assessment of the typical responses? Are they adhering? Are they aligning to these communication traits or not? What do we do about it when it's not? I think that in a couple of years there will be the ability for us to steer these models even more so than we have today. Because right now, to be honest with you, I think we're steering. I think OpenAI's, this is my view, is that they were able to steer it enough to be able to release it to the general public. But now it's going to be a game of personalization.